Okay, we're going to learn about the condorcet method, and if you'd like to follow along in our book, it is on page 18. Now, before I change slides, the one thing that I want to bring to your attention is this part of the method, is that you are going to take every choice and compare it with every other choice. So let's get started. Now, at this point in time, you should be very familiar with the preference schedule, and also, if you notice, with a preference schedule, multiple items are being voted upon. So in this case, it's A, B, C, and D. Now, if we were just comparing two things or voting on two things, we would already know the answer. But when you have multiple results, sometimes in order to find a clear winner might not always show itself to be that easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take A and compare it to B, take B, compare it to C, take C, compare it to D. Everything is going to be compared to every other thing. Okay? Let's go and get started. Up underneath here, you'll notice that there's a chart, a table. And what we're going to do is we are going to fill in all this information to get started. A, B, C, D. And this chart is just going to help us record our information and be able to show us who exactly our winner is. Now, the way that you read this chart is by going from left to right. And let's go and get started. If we were to take A, and if we were going to compare A to B, who would be our winner? Well, going into our preference schedule here, if we're only comparing A and B, then that means C and D will not be looked at for the moment. And so take away C, take away D, take away D, take away C. So here we go. In this preference schedule right here, notice that A is our winner. In this preference schedule, B is our winner. In this one, B, and then lastly, this one, B. So if I was to total up all the votes, like I was trying to figure out a plurality vote, A would have received 8 votes, and then B would have received the remaining, which I believe was 18. So B is our winner in A to B competition. And so what we would do is we would read it, A lost to B, with putting an L here. But we also know that B won, so where B is here, we would put a W, which shows 1. All right, let's try again. Let's do A versus C. So who wins in an A versus C situation? Well, let's go back to our preference schedule. And let's see. And if we're using A versus C, then that means B and D would be eliminated. Now, as you get more familiar with this, you wouldn't necessarily have to erase and compare. You can kind of just see it without erasing, but I'm just kind of doing this just the long way, just to making sure we all know what's going on. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. All right. So in an A versus C situation, let's see, A1 right here, C1 right here, C1 right here, C1 right here. Okay, so without even totaling, I can go ahead and figure out that C is going to be our winner. And so once again, for A, lost to C, but C beat A. Okay? Now, hopefully at this point in time, you pretty much have gotten the gist of it at this. But we'll try one more. We'll try this, one more. All right, A versus D. Now, at the same time, I'm not even going to erase B or C. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the A and D situation. Okay, A1 there, D1 here, D was ranked higher here, D was ranked higher here. Okay, so D is the winner. So that means A lost to D, whereas over here, D beat A. And you will do this throughout the remaining cells in the table. Now, you might be wondering, why did I leave this one blank? Well, it's because A cannot be compared with A. So I would either leave it blank or put an X right here, because there's no way that one thing can be compared with itself, which means B cannot be compared to B, C cannot be compared to C, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, take this time, pause the video, and fill out the rest of the preference schedule, or I'm sorry, the Condorcet chart. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed, but I called the this chart a Condorcet chart, and that's because of the fact of the past 3 years I've always called it Condorcet because no one's ever corrected me, but it's actually uh, Condorcet, the Condorcet chart. So once you have everything filled out, then you would record the wins and losses. And so I'm going to write it just like I would any other baseball team or any other sporting team. A had 0 wins and 3 losses. B had 3 wins and 0 losses. C had 2 wins and 1 loss. And lastly, D had 1 win and 2 losses. So using these records as a guide, B would be our winner. Okay. So with that being said, you try this one here. Pause it and let's see how you do. Just in case you guys are a little stuck on where to start, this is what your chart should look like. Notice that we have A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E with X's all down the side because remember A can't be compared with A, B can't be compared to B, so on and so forth. So once again, pause this video because I'm about to show you the answer. And there's our answer. So if we were to record or record the wins and losses, let's say we have A with 4 wins, 0 losses, B 1 win, 3 losses, C 3 wins, 1 loss, D is a 2 and 2 situation, and E is an 0 and 4. So if we were to figure out who is actually our winner, it would be A. Now, let's play the what if game. What if? And I'm going to change this up a little bit. Let's say that A actually was this. All right, let's say if A was this. So I'm going to change this A to an L, or this win to a loss, to whereas making this a victory, a W. All right, so I've already changed it. This would now be a 3 and 1 versus a 4 and 0, and of course E would be a 1 and 3. Now you might be asking, well, we have a tie now. We have a tie between A, and then we have a tie between A and C. How do we break the tie? Well, very simply. If the tie is between A and C, very simply, you just ask yourself, who actually won when A and C were compared? So when A and C were compared with one another, you'll notice that A won, whereas C lost. So because of the fact that A beat C in a head-to-head competition, A would be your winner. So just in case if you have a tie, that's how you break the tie. You figure out who it is between, and then you just decide who won. And whoever it won was the winner. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.